have to familiarize ourselves with the experience of being told no and that we're not good enough and not this time and, oh, I'm not the right publisher for you, agent for you, whoever for you. We have to be able to not let that information deter us from the important work that we're here to do, and the important work that not only we as creators do, but that the individual art must do for the world. It's certainly something that is a normal experience for an artist to not only be told no to their work, but to be told no to them as a person. And we have to try to not confuse the two and try to not take it on as our identity when our work gets rejected. And it is very helpful, as counterintuitive as it seems, to remind ourselves that the numbers are staggering, okay? Most short fiction magazines have an acceptance rate of about 1% or less, 0.5%. And yes, I said 1%. So you might be one of 2,000 people who have submitted to this call, and statistically your work is not going to get noticed, statistically. But that's the thing about art. There is no equation. There is no magic formula. There is no way to know. And even if your work is the best, whatever that means, even if your work is technically perfect and delivers everything it's supposed to, it's doing everything right, that doesn't guarantee it's going to sell. It doesn't guarantee someone wants to represent you. There's really no way to know until you try. And you just have to keep trying and keep trying. All you need to know is the self-trust that your work is going to get there. It's going to get where it's meant to be. It's going to find the right home. It's going to find the right audience. You're going to find your fan base. You're going to find your way. But you're not going to, the one guarantee of rejection is you rejecting yourself. You deciding, oh, my work isn't good enough for this submission call. Oh, my work isn't good enough for this agent. When you do this, you ruin your opportunity to see what could have been and to give your work the chance that it deserves. So don't do this, okay? The first thing you need to do is just familiarize yourself. This is part of the process. You're going to get told no a lot. It's very normal. It's how it works. And most agents, the percentage of authors who get agents is significantly low as well. It's around that percentage, I believe, but it's a very low percent of authors who ever become agented. And then even statistically, as staggeringly low percentage of people who even write a book, let alone actually get one published. So we're talking doing things that are astronomically out of the norm for the average individual. And being an artist is, being a professional artist is not a commonplace endeavor, okay? It is not something, people talk about it, people dream about it, people make conversation about it, but they don't actually do it. And for the people who do it, they know what an incredible amount of courage and effort and resilience you have to actually get to the other side of where you're going. So hopefully find comfort in the fact that you're not the first person and you're not going to be the last person who gets told that, oh, your work isn't good, or you aren't good enough, or you're not good enough to get published here. And we all need to know that we're not alone in that feeling and we're not alone in that experience. And I think another element of rejection that I have always quietly endured, and that a lot of people maybe don't talk about that much, is the social rejection. People don't understand how incredibly difficult it is to aspire to be an artist professionally, and because they just cannot wrap their mind around that. They think it's hilarious, they think it's a hobby, they think it's something they can, any other various form of ways to reduce you and what you're doing. No one's going to take you seriously ever until you're going to be, what you're doing is going to be adorable, or, your passion project, or whatever it is that people want to say. until all of a sudden you have markers of status, societal status, that back your work, that all of a sudden people, oh, I always knew you'd make it, oh, this, that, and this, until you have big money, until you have critical acclaim, until you have certain markers of like, oh, you made it, you're just that weirdo who writes little stories, or you're just that person who sketches, or whatever it is that you do. And it's super funny because when you encounter people who like give you a strange reaction about it, they might be, whether they're quietly judgmental or overly judgmental, or even if they're not mean at all and they're not judgmental, even if they're like, oh, that's cool, kind of dismissive and passive and like they don't get it. I think it's very fascinating that the type of reaction of like, good luck with that, how's that going to work out? These same people will go to a job they hate, clock in every day, literally their entire life, just give their time to something they don't care about or believe in, and then what do they do? The instant they get home, they sit on the couch and watch a movie that someone like an artist had to write or had to perform, or they play video games that someone had to write or had to create, or they participate in the benefits of art, but they don't respect artists. And when they do, it's not until there's a huge flooding of social and societal backing to be like, yeah, you're the real deal, okay, you matter now. And it's really sad that a lot of the time there's this very lonely and sort of dark mountain that you have to climb completely by yourself for a very long time to get to this place where when you say this to people, they don't look at you like, oh, that's so interesting, And even if they mean well, people, they just don't understand. They straight up don't get it. And I think there's different categories of why this is the case. Maybe they think like that's very impractical of you. Like they mean that their heart is in the right place to be like, what do you mean that you're going to do that with your life? That's concerning. What's your retirement plan? Whatever, right? Or they think it's funny. They think it's like a childhood silly, I can be whatever I want. And it's very reduced. And I think the other side of it, the darker side of it, is people are jealous. They know that they could never have the courage to do something like this. And they could never, not even if they did it quietly and in private, they would never have the ability to step out of their comfort zone and take a risk and do something they've never done before and have to put themselves under scrutiny as an individual and your art that you create under scrutiny. And it's a lot of pressure. And I think that people just know they couldn't hack it. And so they want to talk down to people who do, because it's a projection of like, oh, well, it's not going to work out for you, because if I were to do that, it wouldn't work out for me. So I have to believe that it's not going to work out for you, because so that means I can sleep at night knowing that I do this shitty job and it's fine, because, if I wanted to do anything else like that, it wouldn't work out anyway. So, I think it's something like that. Like people self-soothe in this way. They see you doing the thing that they wish they would have just done it or tried, and it enrages them that you're doing it. Even if you're openly failing in their eyes, whatever that means. Well, you're not a household name. Well, you're not rich. Well, you're not. They don't. They're missing the whole point. And so what I mean to say is that social rejection, people may make comments, people may be kind of bullies towards you, or they might just be, I think the most often frequent response is just dismissal. It's not overtly cruel, it's not even intended to be mean, it's just like, that's nice, like, oh. But it's funny because no one does that with any other type of work. No one's like, oh, I'm a chef. You're not like, oh, good luck with that. It's so funny. Like people get so uncomfortable. Sometimes it makes it hard to even tell people because they're going to be weird. It's very rare that people are like actually interested or genuinely curious in a sincere, kind-hearted way. And even in that, then there's the subcategory of it being like, that's such a cute little hobby. Instead of like treating you like a professional and treating you like the same way that they would treat anybody else who simply states like, yeah, I'm an educator, yeah, I'm a chef, yeah, I'm a veterinarian. But the difference is those labels have social success backings. They have, the things that being an artist, being the whimsical, strange experience of being an artist has to be built over time, and sometimes doesn't ever get reflected in the way that people think is important. And it's very frustrating because it's really defeating, and you shouldn't have to explain yourself, you shouldn't have to prove yourself. And honestly, these opinions don't matter, and this chatter is literally background noise. But it can be very painful when it's from people you love, family, friends, people you think are close to you, and they don't know you at all, because in this context, because they don't care. They don't care about the work you do, they don't care about something that means so much to you and that feels like your entire soul, and it's just like offhanded information to them. It's hard to maintain these like little masks that we have to wear to like just be around other people who are not artists themselves, or who don't have any interest, and not that people are obligated to have interest in it, just that people maybe don't realize how dismissive they are and how outwardly cruel they can be sometimes. And I mean, I've heard, especially writing horror, people make it a point to tell you, I've heard some extremely strange things that people say to me, like very inappropriate and odd things. They think they need to help me, that something's wrong with my soul, and like all this stuff. And I'm like, thank you for your concern. I'm okay. But yeah, it's fascinating. People are very uncomfortable being around someone who's brave enough to live outside of what the society says is an appropriate way to live your life professionally. It's a weird balance to constantly feel like these walls from people in your life, or from strangers, or from whoever, and then these walls professionally, and then you've got another world to interact with, which is the people who consume your art, and they might not always be happy with what you make. They might not always be happy with you. They might have very high expectations of you, and you're in a rough time of your life and you can't meet those expectations, and you're not producing enough, or you're not, people treat us like machines, and they fail to realize that it seems like the only reason that we do this is because we must. And that seems like a strange and psychotic answer, but it is literally true. Every artist who's really, truly, this is who they are, will tell you that. Like you just can't stop doing it. Like this is why you're here. This is your purpose for your entire existence. Like you don't give a fuck if there's no 401k for writing this book, or that people kind of paint you as being like that it's a money thing. Artists deserve to be paid, first of all, like paid handsomely for the work that they do. That's not what I'm saying. What I mean is that people view you as like, ooh, a money grab, and it's like, I can make money in many other ways that are a lot easier than this. So it's just so funny, the concept and the ideas that people make about it. And all this to say that I just hope that you don't feel so alone, and also can find a strange comfort in that being alone is the point. We are tasked with doing something very difficult. We are tasked with having the ability to endure all of the social isolation in order to experience humanity, and to deliver this into the work that we create and the art that we create. And a lot of really good art is in part, it's dependent on solitude. So you have to become someone who is very, very good at being alone, and very good at standing in your own truth and having a spine about who you are, because other people will go as far as they can to tell you that you're not good enough, that you will never be good enough, that this is a silly little dream, that your work is a joke, that whatever. It can be as cruel or as dismissive or as thoughtless or as intensively mean as possible. And just know that at the end of the day, you can trust that they are wrong. And you are meant to be here. Your work is meant to be in the world. And you must have that faith, because no one else will have it for you. No one will be able to give that to you. And even when you hit the accolades that you want to get, you get the book deal, you get the certain amount in your bank account, you get the such and such fans, there will be a new face of this coming around. And you will have to constantly be aware that people will try to push you your entire professional artistic career, because they can, because you are an enigma, because you are someone who creates everything out of nothing, and they don't. And that amazes them and enrages them. So accept that you just have to make your own way, and don't be discouraged by the no's. Trust that the right yes is coming. It only takes one. The right people who understand you and understand your work are there. There are other artists like you who want to move along in their career just like you do, who want to support you, who want to wish you well, and who are going to cheer you on. And even if you're in a time of life where you don't have a single person like that in your environment, that doesn't mean they aren't there. You just haven't met them yet. So keep going. Stack up your rejections like a badge of honor. You cannot control who tells you yes. You cannot control. What you can control is how many times you keep sending out submissions and how many times you keep starting up a new project. They didn't like this one. No one wants to buy this one. No one wants to represent you for this one. Okay, well, you'll just make another one then, and just keep going. There's no other way. You just have to work through it, and not in a dismissive, not in an avoidant way, in a self-trust way. Like, they can tell me no. I already said yes to myself, so keep saying no. This means nothing to me. The way that what I'm doing means nothing to you, you're telling me that I'm not good enough for this, doesn't affect me. It's not going to hold me back. And we can use it as fuel to get better, as fuel to improve our craft, and our desire to do what we are meant to do, because this is not a lighthearted path. This is not something that people do offhandedly. This is something that is very spiritual and soulful and intent on it. There's a lot of belief about being an artist gives you a very difficult life, and it is my theory that this is because we have this very important task, that we have to share the human experience. And the best way for us to share the human experience is to experience it. And some of the most difficult parts of the human experience we also have to experience deeply and fully in order to transcribe them, and in order to depict them, and in order to share them in a way that other people connect with. So while of course it's not true that our lives are going to be doom and gloom because we're artists, we are just going to uniquely know what it's like to be alone. And because we're creators, and we have to create in isolation, and we have to look within in order to pour out. So don't let all these no's get you to a place where you can't. Don't seek validation in that way. And of course, we want to receive the accolades and the praise for what we're doing, but just remind yourself that it's not going to always be all the time. You will get where you're going. You just have to trust that it is coming for you. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to know that we can't control other people. We can't control the way they view us, the way they view the work we do. All we can control is our desire to do the work, and just everything else is noise. Just let them talk. Let them think what they think. There are a community of people who understand and want to do this too. And at the end, when you get through, you will be a light for other people who are working so hard to get there. So think of those people. Think of the people you haven't met yet. Think of the people you will inspire and the people you will reach with your work, because we need you and we need the work you're doing. Imagine if your favorite musician just gave up, or your favorite writer just never persevered. Whoever it is that gives you those moments to have courage and to experience life when you feel like no one else understands you but the art that you engage with, imagine who you would be without it. And think of your duty and your obligation to people and who you need to serve by creating the art that you were meant to create. So don't give up.